To say that you want a coaching change means, and this goes for Jeremiah Donati and Amaritis and everybody else, means it is broken beyond all repair under the current head coach. Not, oh, he had a bad record and deserves to be fired. That's punitive. You don't do punitive. You make an assessment. It's what I like to see some of these guys that have bad seasons have their salaries cut. Maybe give them a little bit back if they make progress the next year. Absolutely. Sam Pittman kind of did that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's a different conversation. But to say that you've got to be willing to accept this, that it's getting blown up and you're starting over in many ways. Because a lot of these guys came to South Carolina because they want to play for Shane Beamer. I'm not saying 100% of the roster will walk out the door. There's no coach out there that's going to sit there and retain these. I mean, most of these guys that are really good have financial offers behind the scenes to go elsewhere in a heartbeat. If that's the answer, though, Phil, then that's fine. That's not a crazy illogical answer for it, right?
Right.
But if you think that you'd rather not blow it all up, that new coordinator hire would work, and returning the the players, getting players back, having a good portal deal, having a new direction on offense, all of those are hypotheticals, and all of those could go in a number of directions. It's a gamble that way as well. So you're looking at two gambles. You're looking at a lot of ifs on one side, but a little more known, and then you're looking at complete unknown, because we're living in a world where the entire college football universe thought Hugh Freeze was going to go back to Auburn and lead them back to being Auburn. Here we are. He's fired. A lot of Gamecock fans that did not want Beamer wanted Billy Napier, and we saw how that went. I'll talk about bad offense. And so when you look at it like that, and my passion on this, my passionate opinion on this, Phil, is not to convince anybody either way. I'm just saying, if you're on one side or the other, you have to think it through and own it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're saying. Because here's what's not going to happen. You're not returning all this talent next year. Hypothetically, could a new coach come in, hit the jackpot in the portal, and be competitive? Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you're not, most of these good players you've got right now that are actually good, that have had coaches fail them this year, they're gone. Out the door. Gone. The chances are very thin. You're going to give up all the recruiting relationships from the high school level, and that's still going pretty well.
Right. You're going to have to rebuild that.
You have to rebuild that. And we know that takes a long time. It takes a little while.
Yeah.
So you can expect to lose most of the 2027 talent in the state to Georgia, Clemson, North Carolina, Florida State, wherever. You can expect to do that. Again, sometimes that's necessary, Phil. Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes you got to say all that stuff's great, but we got to move.
But yeah, the issues are bigger than those factors, right? And maybe they are. Who's to say? I mean,
you got to say, hey, we're willing to blow it all up and start over.
Yeah.
And somebody in the chat box, I said, you got to win consistently in this league. Yeah, how where's that got in some of these schools? Florida misses on Lane Kiffin. It's going to be the same. I mean, I love Eli. I think Eli Trinkle's a good coach. Nobody can win there. They just keep changing coaches. I mean, it's just, maybe you hire your Josh Heupel, though. Like Tennessee, that was a surprise. We're in a world where either decision is a crapshoot and a gamble. Because you're not getting Urban Meyer's not coaching at South Carolina. I hope there's not something deep in his heart that draws him to the job if a change is made. Now, look like somebody records that and it makes stupid, but there's nobody out there like Spurrier and Holtz. Hell, there's only one Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, right? And everybody's fighting over that.
Yeah, that's it. And so I soundly reject this notion. I heard some guy that didn't know anything the other day, talking about how Arkansas and Stanford and UCLA were ahead of Carolina in the pecking order. That's not true. Coaches know what's going on here. They see it on TV. They see the atmosphere. They see the players he's been able to attract. It's not ahead of Auburn, LSU, Florida, but that doesn't really matter because those schools, the reason they're making coaching changes is because they don't make good hires. So who cares who they hire, right? But there's the pool that Carolina, would be swimming in. It's guys like Sonny Dykes, guys like Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati. If Bob Chesney didn't take the UCLA job, which people think is going to happen, guy James Madison. There's other guys I like better than those. I don't think you need a sitting Power 4 head coach. I like the guy. For me, I'd take a chance on the guy at North Texas or the guy at South Florida, Alex Golesh, Eric Morris, somebody like that. But you're not going and swiping Brent Key away from Georgia Tech or, Jeff Brom from Louisville. I mean, you're not doing that. And it's not anything to do with South Carolina. It's just how college football is these days. So that in and of itself is a crapshoot. I don't think taking that type of gamble is the wrong move, but all of you that want that, and Donati and Amaritas and the board of trustees and everybody, that's what they have to arrive at, Phil, is that, as of right, if it's right now, if you're making that decision right now, which they're not, because it can always get worse. I mean, losing to Coastal and Clemson or splitting those games, it could change the calculus a bit because those are games Carolina should win. You're out of the SEC. You're not playing top 12 teams anymore.
Right.
So you're kind of running out of the thing where you point to the schedule and go, that was murderer's row. And it actually was this year. That doesn't excuse coaching errors that messed up chances of victory. That doesn't excuse the fact that you had two of the top 10 teams in the SEC and what likely will be the SEC championship matchup, A&M and Alabama, on the ropes and should have 2 victories in the last 3 games against 2 of the top teams in the country. And it just got screwed up. Exactly. That doesn't change the fact that, you probably should have made a move at offensive coordinator a long time ago. And it's a head coach's job to see that, But again, this is not punitive. It's not a punishing decision. We know all that. We know it was screwed up. But you can't just say, I'm going to punish this person. So, because what you're doing, it's not punishing him. He's going to walk, the coach is walking away a multimillionaire. His family never has to work. What's the punishment? Pride? Who cares?
Right. Yeah.
There's
going to be plenty of G5 jobs opening up that I'm sure that they would take a SEC head coach retread, right? Because that's what you're creating at that point. You're creating a former SEC head coach with 5 years experience, and that looks very good to G5 teams.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, that's not punishing anybody. There's no punishment. What you want to avoid though is punishing yourself. Your program that you care about, that we all love. This is not a stand on the table defense of Shane Beamer. I can't defend what's happened this year.
No.
I can't really even defend the constant talk about practice that he said he doesn't care about, and those are his words. I don't care, but and people don't want to hear this, but I don't care. And he says, I don't care that people don't think we're close. If you look at the scores of the games they were, the counter to that is, well, you should have won more because your offense was a dog crap idea to begin with. You took a guy people were thinking would be the top pick in the draft, and he's clearly regressed at the most important position on the field. This is year 5 of these so-so OC hires that, you spend half the year talking about how the players are going to finally get it and learn it, and it's tough to learn and all that. Tough to get down, under Loggins, it's probably more just Lenoris being a first-year starter. And I'll agree that the logic to promote Mike Shula was one thing, but then you have to make sure he's not screwing it up
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know why that didn't happen. I mean, look at how the offensive line played Saturday, Phil, with shortened play calls. You know, there's not a coach in the country that coaches in college that goes, man, I need 21-word play calls. That's a little extreme. So I'm not defending any of that. I'm just saying that there's a lot of folks out there that believe the answer to everything. I mean, look, there's a new AD. He does things. He's a different background. You probably have a search firm by and large deciding, you know.
Yeah, he's going to lean on other people to make the decision, right?
Yeah, maybe that's good. Maybe it's not. Be an interview or whatever. And, you know, Jimmy Sexton and Trace Armstrong will definitely be involved just like every other opening.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and look, I'm not saying it wouldn't work out. You may pull the plug and the best coach in the history of the school comes in and wins and wins and wins and wins, Phil. You don't know. And there's not, you know, I've said for years, we all got to get over this guy that's done something big someplace else on the back end of his career coming in. And, you know, there's only one Steve Spurrier, right?
Right. Yeah.
You know, and like I said, if Urban Meyer wanted to come coach here, sign it up, but that's not his MO. He didn't even take his dream job, Notre Dame, because he didn't think he could get enough players there to win it all, but knew he could at Florida. That's how he thinks.
Yeah, Urban's not really a big rebuild guy. You know, it's like we want to have a higher pedestal there. You know, makes it.
You're right. He stepped into situations like 8-4 Florida with Zucker leaving a lot of good players.
Right, yeah.
Or Ohio State where Tressel had it rolling and he just takes over after the interim year under Luke Fickell. But
yeah, and you're the only game in town up there.
Yeah. So I'm just that's just just to let everybody know that's the dilemma when you're talking about this situation. I said on coffee too, Phil. I said I wasn't going to repeat it, but I want this audience to know. Then we'll get to the Nana Sports chat box. Maybe take break about 12:40.
I can hit it. Yeah, well, about 40.
Yeah, about 12:40 sounds good to me. Get on there about $40. $40. So anyway, on coffee. I said this on coffee. I'm not there yet as far as the change. Like right now, I'm looking at it and I'm going, because it is a fascinating debate, you know. I mean, because coaching it and everything, you need players. And I believe Carolina's got some good ones. That said, I'm kind of into the personnel. Just my career, talent, recruiting, roster building. I love that stuff. So I'm a geek.
Right, yeah.
Not all of you may, a lot of you may not be talent geeks, and that's fine too. There's no wrong answer. Even the people that, except for, hey, you should have fired him Monday. That would have been bad. But if you won't change, you won't change. Just be prepared to know, what you're saying when you want that. And at the same time, if you're not change, if you're anti-change, be prepared to know that what you're saying is there's a lot of ifs, and this is a gamble too.
JC and Mad Dog Bully